Okay, so I forgot that I learned recently that I shouldn't wear baggy shirts when I record because when I put my mic on it, then the sound gets all bad because my shirt's rubbing against it. But I don't want to change. So I'm just going to be holding this mic like a professional. Hi, my name is Sarah Freshley and welcome back to Freshly Read Books, where we're all professionals here. So my excitement to talk about this book is through the roof. Elena knows some things and Sarah knows that she loved this book, but not like in the way that Elena knows things, because a lot of times it just means she thinks she knows things. Like I know that I loved this book. Also, apologies for every time that I've said Elena knows prior to this, because I have now heard the translator talk about the book and it is indeed Elena knows. I might also mess up in this video because honestly I already messed up in that intro and I had to refilm the entire thing. So yes, today we are talking about this little masterpiece of a book called Elena Knows by Claudia Piñeiro. Hopefully my years of Spanish class helped me nail that pronunciation. I would like to not hear otherwise. And this was translated by Frances Riddle. Elena Knows is about a woman, Elena, who recently lost her daughter. She was found in the church tower hanging. So the police have ruled this a suicide, but Elena knows that it wasn't because she knows her daughter, right? So I love when a book can give you a specific emotion, or when you're feeling what the character's feeling so intensely that sometimes it's almost uncomfortable. And oof, did this book make me feel uncomfortable? That might sound weird, but hear me out, because I'm like, I love this book. I felt so uncomfortable. Elena has Parkinson's disease, which I didn't realize meant anything other than, I thought that in everybody it manifested itself visually in that you would have tremors or shakes. So your hands was the one that I was most familiar with. Your hands would be really shaky. And it's not that I thought that was all Parkinson's disease was, but I did think that everybody with Parkinson's, if they had it advanced enough, then they had that. But that's not the case. Elena has Parkinson's, and the way that it kind of manifests in her own body is that she is really confined into one position, and she needs the help of medication to do anything, to walk around. And she can move her arms and stuff, but she can't support her body weight walk around without having this medication. Not only that, but she is in this position where she's got a hunchback, she's hunched over, and her head is always facing downward. So she has a really hard time looking up at anything or anyone, and is just forced to live life looking down, basically. Hearing the way that she had to manage her medication, how she would have to wait an hour for it to take effect, just sitting on a park bench waiting for her to be able to walk again, and then she wouldn't know exactly how long it would last, because sometimes it would last longer than others. And when it started wearing out, she had to make sure that she found a spot that she could sit down and wait until she was able to take the next dose of her medication. And just following her and seeing a day in her life where she's can only look at and see, and in turn you only look at and see the floor, people's shoes. That's how she figures out who is where and who she's talking to. That's all she has to go by. And literally being forced into this position of submission, of it looks like somebody that is begging or praying to another person. And I just can't imagine having a conversation with somebody and being forced into that position. It is hard to read, but man, do you feel those feelings while you're reading. You were just in one day of Elena's life, and it feels like a marathon, but not one that you're excited to get to the end of, because you know that she just has to go through the exact same thing the next day. This book also centers on religion. So Elena isn't particularly religious, but her daughter is very devout, and of course her body is found in the Catholic Church and is ruled a suicide, which is one of the biggest sins that you can commit according to the Catholic Church. But as I said, Elena herself isn't really religious, but she does hold certain beliefs, and I think that that's really what this book comes down to. Belief, just in general. Elena believes that her daughter did not commit suicide, so much so that she thinks that she knows it. The book, when referring to something that Elena believes or thinks, always uses the phrase that's in the title, Elena knows. But as you move through the book, as you learn more about what Elena's life was like with her daughter, about what her daughter did to other people in the name of her own belief, things that are very relevant in today's US political climate, you realize that maybe Elena didn't really know her daughter, and maybe no one really knows anyone else, but Elena believed in her daughter. She believed in her so much, she believed that the things that she did were right, that they were good, even when they very clearly were not. And maybe that's what relationships are, not knowing each other fully, but just believing in each other, right or wrong. Also, sorry that I'm talking cryptically. I'm really trying not to spoil what happens later in the book because it is a ride. All in all, I feel like my feelings are probably pretty clear how I feel about this book. I loved it. I thought that it was fantastic, and it told this story in a way that I hadn't seen before. By the synopsis, it seems like it's going to be this like crime novel where Elena is trying to kind of clear her daughter's name and make sure that people know that she didn't kill herself. And also there's a murderer on the loose and we got to catch him because clearly she didn't kill herself. So you think that that's what the book is going to be, but it's really something entirely different. Not only that, but Frances Riddle, the translator, explained it really well in a video that she did for Booker. She talks about how it's so easy to see what is happening in the book because Claudia Pinheiro does such a good job of showing what's happening, of really putting you in that moment and in that scene. You feel like you can see all the things that she's describing. And Frances Riddle talks about how that's likely because Claudia Pinheiro was a screenwriter and a playwright. So she's very used to making sure that you can visualize the words that she's writing down. So I just realized that how am I going to hold this and also do the Booker Frog? Wait, where is the Booker Frog? What are you doing down here? This is going to be so loud in the mic. I'm going to have to like turn it down when I do this part. So do the Booker Frog and I recommend it. Yes, absolutely. That's a double ribbit. So that means we super recommend it if you're new around here. This is the third book to join the Double Ribbit Club, which is what it's now called. So yes, that means that I super recommend it. I want everybody to read this book because I think that it is such a good book. It's very relevant right now, and it's just good. But anyways, I do want to let you know that I will be doing my very first live stream on this channel along with Kieran from Katie Books for the announcement of the winner of the International Booker Prize. So if you want to join in on that excitement, find out the winner with us, react with us, freak out with us, hopefully cheer with us, then be sure to subscribe and join in for that live stream. I hope to see you there. Bye.